Okay, and welcome to the Simple Interest Live Showdown. My name is Omkar Yarguddi and I'm the host for this evening. I'm one of the, if I might say so myself, extraordinary gentlemen of the league, of the Simple Interest Quizzing League, uh, who also happens to crack bad jokes every now and then. So, do pardon the bad jokes, but I promise that the quiz is going to be quite interesting. We will start with a short round of introductions with our participants, nominees, with our invitees, the panel. Today we have with us Sania Narulkar, Shashank, Pushkar, Vinod Hariharan. Let's start, Sania. Sania, can you give us a quick introduction, please?
Yeah, hi, my name is Sania. I live in Bombay and occasionally I quiz with the Bombay Quiz Club.
And we welcome you to this third Simple Interest Showdown. Next segment.
Did we lose Omkar?
Yeah, I think so.
Omkar got disconnected. I'll just check with him and I'll get back to you.
All right.
I think he's back.
Omkar, you are not.
So, Shashank, you were giving us.
Yeah. Is he?
Yeah. Shashank, are you here?
Oh, okay. So, hi, I'm Shashank. I'm currently in Meerut, but I crack bad jokes and bad answers at Gujarat quiz like circuit usually, but currently I'm in Meerut.
God, this is a little painful. I'm so sorry about this. Let me just try to figure out a better connection. Oh, that is my cousin in the background who's being very helpful with alternate connections. Okay, and I'm back. Hopefully for good this time. So let's hope the third time is the charm and that there will be no interruptions this time around. So Shashank is a quizzer, an avid quizzer who is in Meerut currently, but usually ends up cracking great answers with the Ahmedabad Quiz Club, or was it Vadodara?
So both.
Okay.
Primarily Ahmedabad.
Primarily Ahmedabad. Okay, welcome. We're glad to have you here. And he's also one of our most interested, engaged players at Simple Interest. And he's the one who points out if there is any discrepancy on the scoreboard, any discrepancy anywhere on the quiz form. So eternally grateful to him for that. We hope you'll keep telling us if there is anything that needs tweaking. Next, we have Pushkar. So Pushkar, please let us know where you're joining in from and what kind of a quizzer you are.
So, hi, my name is Pushkar. I'm mostly an on and off quizzer. I'm not necessarily someone who attends quizzes outside, but I'm more of an online quizzer or, just kind of, so I'm more of a stay-at-home quizzer rather than someone who goes out.
So you're the perfect candidate to be playing Simple Interest, if I might say so.
Yeah, exactly.
And finally, we have Vinod. So Vinod, over to you.
Yeah, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I just need to reach some issues with laptop.
I'm sorry, I think I lost you there for a second, Vinod. Can you please repeat what you said? Okay, it looks like we've lost Vinod. We'll just wait for a few seconds for him to return. Meanwhile, I'll just keep an eye on the participants list in case he's back. So while we are waiting around for Vinod, okay, looks like he's back. Vinod, over to you. Welcome back to the quiz. You can unmute yourselves and give us a short bio.
Sorry, was it for me?
Yes, that was for you. Over to you.
Yeah, sorry, I had some issues with my laptop. It was hanging, so I had to rejoin. All right, so a brief bio about me. I basically spent some time in Chennai where I was quizzing with the QFI group. So after coming to Bangalore, I tried to attend a few meetings with KQA, but the distance was a big problem. So then I stopped going there, and I was sticking myself to downloading quizzes from mails and stuff like that. But simple interest is something that has been keeping me alive over the last 1 year, I guess. Ever since I joined, those 10 questions I receive every day. I try to answer them with my cup of coffee as soon as I get it. And of course, after this COVID, I've been into the online quizzing scene. So let's see. I'm enjoying it, and let's see how this goes. Yeah, and so that's about
for
it.
those kind words, Vinod.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe one of these days we can give you a cup of coffee along with your dose of quizzing.
Yes, of course.
So welcome.
You guys are doing a great job.
The
Yes.
Showdown. I hope you guys will have a great lot of fun. And without further ado, we'll get right on with the program. The first and foremost, here are the rules. There are 35 questions in today's quiz, distributed across 4 rounds. There'll be 2 passing rounds, each of 12 questions, and 2 written rounds, for which we'll be using the Google form that we shared in the email earlier. You can use that as the answer sheet for the written rounds. Okay. Each question is worth 10 points. There are no negatives anywhere in the quiz. There are no partial points. So you can rest easy. You can take your mind off any worries about partial points and chimping. And for tiebreakers, we'll consider the scores for players in this sequence: written 1, infinite rebounds, or passing 1, infinite rebounds 2, and written 2. So whoever has the highest score in written 1 will win the tiebreak, will emerge victorious from a tiebreak, and we proceed in that sequence if the tie is still in place. Okay, and it won't be a simple interest quiz if I don't remind you of the honor code. No Googling, no using any external sources of references, family members, cousins, Mahabharat, Pitama, Bhishma, any other sources, but your own brains and your own knowledge. So that brings us to the first round, which is called simple interest, and this is going to be infinite rebounds, which means that the questions will pass from player to player. There's no time limit as such, but we shall keep a brisk pace. And the way the passing works is, let's say we start with Sania, then go on to Shashank, then go on to Vinod, and finally to Pushkar, if that is the sequence. If Sania can't answer her direct question, the question will go to Shashank. If he can't answer it, it will go to Vinod. Let's say Vinod answers it, he gets 10 points for the question. The next question will go to Pushkar. Okay, so whoever answers the question will get 10 points, regardless of how many times it is bounced until it reaches them. And the next question will go to the next person in sequence. Okay, any questions on how this is going to pass?
Yes.
Okay, all good. So we'll start with the first question, and we'll go alphabetically for this order. So I think Pushkar is up first, followed by Sania, then Shashank and Vinod. For the second infinite rebounds round, we will reverse the order. Okay. So question 1 coming up for Pushkar. So this is a clip from the Simpsons TV show. It references a very famous English movie. Just tell us the name of which English movie. Here's the clip. Okay, so that was the clip. Pushkar, all you have to do is tell us which English movie is referenced in this scene from The Simpsons.
Can you please play the clip again if possible?
Sure, let's do that again. It's an iconic film, I'll tell you that.
Is it Psycho?
It is indeed Psycho, Pushkar. Well done. You've managed to crack the first question. So that's 10 points to you. Good job. That's Psycho. And you can see this is a famous shower scene which was being parodied in The Simpsons. And that brings Pushkar 10 points. We'll move on to question number 2 to Sania. Sania, this is your question. The Ray-Ban shooter seen here in the film Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas had a signature feature. There was a small circle in the middle which was called the blank blank. It was designed to free the hands of the shooter. So what was the purpose of this small circle that you see in the frame? Sanya, you're on mute.
Sorry, which circle are you referring to? The circle on his shades.
The circle between the two between the two glasses. There's this circle which connects the two lenses of sorts. That is the circle that we're talking about here.
Right. So you're saying.
So just tell us what was the circle designed to do, or what was its purpose?
I haven't seen the movie, but I think it's about inhaling cocaine. So free the hands of shooter probably means that you make the tube through which you'll be inhaling or snorting cocaine, and that's why you keep it, like you keep your glasses there, and that's how you snort it.
A very imaginative guess, but not the right one, I'm afraid. So we'll pass to Shashank. Shashank, you're direct.
Even I haven't seen the film, but since it's a shooter, I will say it was used as a so it was used as a sight, like, so for example a red dot or something of that sort, target sighting tool.
That's again a very good guess, but not the right one, I'm afraid. So we'll pass to Vinod.
Is it used for making a joint? So you roll the cigarette, so the diameter is of the right size, and then you use that to prepare a joint.
That would be a very precise way of preparing a joint, but I don't think the answer is quite joined with what we are looking for. So we'll pass finally to Pushkar.
I don't think I can come up with an imaginative guess, so I'll just pass.
At this point, I would like to go to people in our audience, and if anyone would like to unmute themselves and give out the answer, please feel free.
Yeah, I can try.
Okay, so Aniket, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just simply guessing, like, free the hands of the shooter here is the guy taking a photo. So it's like just a cigarette holder for him essentially.
That's absolutely right, Aniket. 10 points to the audience. Well done. This is to free the hands of the shooter, and instead of holding the cigarette in their hands, they would just put the cigarette in the glasses used as the cigarette holder. So, well done, Aniket. No points to anyone on this question, and the question goes back to Sania. Okay, so here's your question. In both 1964 and 1968, what activity did this gentleman do from 5:30 p.m. onwards on his birthday? So direct for Sania.
So 1964 is the year Nehru died, and so I'm guessing he was swearing in or inviting a new person to be the Prime Minister of India.
That's a good guess, but not what we are looking for. So we'll pass to Shashank.
So this is Morarji Desai. He was born on 29th of February, and that was the day and the time when the budget used to be presented, and he was the finance minister, so he used to present the budget. The annual fiscal statement, the correct term, that is.
Perfect answer, Shashank. That brings you 10 points. Well done. This was Morarji Desai, who was born on 29th of February, and it was customary to present the union budget at 5:30 p.m. on those days. So that is what he ended up doing on his birthday. So next question to Vinod, question number 4. Two of the less believable claims of how this piece of equipment got its name are given here. One is that it was because of the aviator called A.E. George. The second has some connection with the author of Ulysses. So what piece about? So two of the less believable claims about something are given here. Something to do with the aviator A.E. George, something to do with the author of Ulysses, or some connection with the author of Ulysses. So,
This is some kind of military equipment, which is, so I would say a firearm.
okay, so would you like to venture a little forward and specify which one? Not saying whether you are right on the right track or not. Just looking for a slightly specific answer.
Let's say the Walther PPK gun.
Okay,
Which was,
so it's. I'll pass the question to Pushkar. It's not the Walther PPK. Pushkar, your question. Something to do with the aviator A.E. George, some connection with the author of Ulysses. What piece of equipment possibly got its name from either of these two things?
It's just a random guess. Binoculars.
Not quite what we are looking for, so we'll pass the question to Sania.
So Joyce is the author of Ulysses. I'm guessing joystick
is the right answer. That's absolutely right. This is the joystick. People thought it comes from Joyce stick or George stick, which was then later corrupted into joystick. Of course, there are other theories which state that it was so called because it brought pilots a lot of joy of flight, or other kinds of joy because of where it was located, and with pilots being exclusively male back in the day. Let's not go there, Omkar. But this is the joystick that we were looking for, and 10 points to Sania for cracking this. Next question. Back to Shashank. Music director S.D. Burman is said to have had a very unusual way with testing the quality of voice of his prospective singers. Typically, after his morning walk, he would ask these singers to sing but the way this was conducted was certainly not conventional. Okay. Incidentally, the striking but simple picturization of a song composed by him for the film Sujata overlaps with this exercise. So, how did he judge them, or what unusual method did he use to judge the voice quality?
Okay, so it's a random guess, but since it's morning, so he would ask them to mimic the voice of the sound of the birds outside his home, or whatever you are hearing. Try to mimic them or something of that sort.
That's an inspired guess, Shashank. I wish I would have come up with that, but not quite what we're looking for. So we'll pass to Vinod.
Um, so basically, when you finish your, so you're asking the singer also has to, I mean, accompany him on his morning walks. Is that what you're?
No, no, not really.
Okay. So
It is
basically,
that he used to conduct such exercises after he had his morning walk.
okay. Um, so basically, he would ask them to sing on a fast or on a higher note, which would basically help him to judge how, like how fresh the voice is when you sing, because singing on a high note first thing in the morning is difficult. So he would judge according to that, or rather, the voice will be put at a rest, and once he had a good night's sleep and all that. So he feels that the voice in the early morning is much suited, or will show the full potential of the singer. So that was the logic he had.
It might as well have been, but that is not quite the answer that we are looking for. So we pass to Pushkar.
Um, it's again a random guess. He would take those prospective singers out for a drive and see whether they could drown out the voices outside. I mean, be it the car, be it the traffic. I mean, something on those lines.
That would definitely test the volume and perhaps a rudimentary test of their voice quality as well. I think S.T. Burman would have found all of these ideas very useful, but not quite the answer we're looking for. So we'll go back to Sania for this question.
So I'm guessing the song from Sujata is Jalte Hain Jiske Liye, where Sunil Dutt is singing over telephone to Newton. And S.D. Burman would make people sing over the telephone to see how the tone carries over to the other side, etc.
And that is the perfect answer. Well done, Sanya. He would ask them to sing over the phone because, uh, the voice quality, obviously, when you have someone speaking on the phone back in the day, the voice quality would be slightly affected. And I think he used that as a good test of what somebody's voice might sound like on a recording device as well. And the song, the funda, everything was spot on. So that brings you 10 well-earned points. Good job. So we'll go to Shashank with the next question. 10 points to Sania for saying Jalte Hain and saying that he asked him to sing on the telephone. Next question to Shashank. This person says he was retitled at Waldorf Astoria by his colleagues in 2000. They were at a UN Millennium Peace. In a conversation with S.M. Goenka, they spoke about how his name meant he was constantly mistaken for another famous Indian, especially because both of them used the same honorary title, which meant scholar. Later that evening, he decided to drop the title. Okay. A colleague of his then came up with the idea of replacing the title with another word. Despite this, he says, MTV and Fox News showed this person's photo when the other Indian had passed away. So who are we talking about and what was the name change? This is basically the story of how of the rechristening of a certain person. He used to be confused with another Indian because they had similar names and they used the same title, which meant scholar. He ended up dropping the title. A colleague suggested that he replace the title with another word, and yet his picture was shown when the other Indian passed away. So who are we talking about, and what was the name change? So question to Shashank.
Yes. Uh, so I will say the scholar is Shastri. So
Okay.
I can't figure anything. So I'll just pass.
Shashank says this is Shastri. I'll say we pass to Vinod.
I would say the person is Subramaniam Chandrasekhar, and
Okay.
when basically they confused his name with um, probably another politician or another person. So I'll just say I'll just guess one part, Subramaniam Chandrasekhar.
Okay. S. Chandrasekhar.
Yes.
Passing on to Pushkar.
So I think the person in question is Shri Ravi Shankar, and he's usually confused. He might be confused with Pandit Ravi Shankar. So he might have had that earlier name and then shifted to Shri as an alternative. That's my guess.
Perfect answer, Pushkar. That brings you 10 points. This is the story of how he became Sri Ravi Shankar from Pandit Sri Ravi Shankar. Well done. That's 10. Well worked out. That's 10 points to Pushkar for getting both the parts right, for getting the entire answer correct. Okay. So 10 points, Pushkar. That's the next question going to Sania. In the 1960s, British police began to crack down on objects that were being used by hooligans at football stadiums. Items such as coins, pins, and even guns were disallowed. So, in response, an improvised weapon Millwall FC, who had a particularly bad reputation for hooliganism. They still do, if I'm not mistaken. This is this object that was originally not thought to be dangerous. It was typically soaked in a liquid inside the stadium and, with a few modifications, turned into a deadly weapon. So, the police began to look out for working class carrying these objects, especially bigger versions usually associated with the upper class. So, what object is the Millwall brick made of? So, direct to Sania. It was an improvised weapon made from a commonplace object. Turned out to be quite dangerous. You just have to tell us what this commonplace, unusual object is a Millwall brick made of.
Bigger versions were associated with upper class.
Yes.
No, I really can't think of anything. I'm just going to say, for the sake of guessing, this is Mentos, and they would mix it in cola, and it would become explosive.
It would turn into a bomb in the hands of hooligans. That's a very good guess, but not quite the creative answer that Millwall fans came up with, or not quite the real life solution that these hooligans came up with. So we'll pass to Shashank. who I see was
Just for
curiously working away at some mind.
just for the sake of guessing, I'll say handkerchief.
Handkerchiefs, and those were transformed into Millwall bricks. Okay, I'll pass the question to Vinod.
Basically, the only one of the few things that you can carry inside stadiums are newspapers, because no one would suspect newspapers being used as a weapon. So for a millwall brick, they basically crumble the newspapers and make it into a thick a block or something, and they used that to attack people or attack the police or whatever. So I would say millwall brick is basically a rolled up newspaper.
Perfect answer, Vinod. Well done. That is a rolled up newspaper folded over to make it very stiff and quite deadly. So 10 well-earned points to you. Are you a Millwall FC supporter by any chance?
No. I was an Arsenal supporter, but now I'm in for my still
Same
returned
with
back
me.
to Arsenal after a long time. So I'm still sticking with it.
Okay. I can see you. I can see Shashank having a cup of coffee in an Arsenal mug.
Yeah,
So
of
you have a
course.
fellow Arsenal fan to share stories of heartbreak over the champions over the Premier
Yes,
League
yes, yes.
and its
Oh,
position stands.
yeah.
So that's points. That's 10 points to Vinod, our in-house Arsenal expert, and we'll go on to Pushkar for the American cigarette ad. At one point, it was targeted particularly at women, and such posters were called Lucky Strike posters. The best example of one in Hollywood also involves this book, which you can see on the screen. So, what is this example? So, essentially, what Hollywood poster are we talking about? Question to Pushkar.
So you're looking for the Hollywood movie which has inspired the poster?
We are looking for a Hollywood movie poster which might fit in with everything that's mentioned here.
I can't think of anything past.
Okay, Pushkar passes to Sania.
When you say poster and movie, I can only think of Shawshank Redemption. So the Raquel Welch poster through which Andy Dufresne goes through. Is that the example you're talking about?
Not quite the film poster that we had in mind. So we'll pass to Shashank. Not Shashank. Let's see if Shashank can have some redemption at this question.
No, I
Shawshank
cannot.
Redemption.
I cannot really think of any movie. Wait. So a woman. I'll say one of the James Bond movie. Um, from with love from Russia.
With love from Russia. Okay. Uh, with a lot of love from Omkar, I will say we'll pass to Vinod.
I would say this is the poster from the Pulp Fiction movie. So there is a Lucky Strike cigarette packet in that poster.
Perfect answer, Vinod. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. This is the Pulp Fiction poster, and there's a Lucky Strike packet and the book in the poster. So well done. That's 10 points to you. And the next question back to Pushkar. So Fred Brownell made the original design that led to the current South African flag. Why did he replace the three arms with just two?
Is it because Namibia was made into a separate country and made independent compared to, basically, so the third arm was representing Namibia?
Not quite. So we'll pass to Sania.
The three-pronged thing looked like a trident, which is usually associated with the devil or Satan, and he didn't want those connotations. So,
Okay, that's a good guess, but not the one that we are looking for. So we'll pass to Shashank.
The third arm represented Zimbabwe, which was made into another country.
Okay, so you went down the Pushkar route, not quite.
Yes.
And going back to Vinod for this one. Vinod, your question.
Okay. So basically, it had three elements initially. The initial flag had the African American heritage depicted, the British influence, and it also had some element of the Dutch, the Boer influence over there. So basically, I think he removed the English element of it from the flag, and he retained only the Boer and the African American heritage.
Okay, so again, no correct answer so far. So we'll go to someone in the audience. And I've just been reminded by a literal rude shock that the power is back. So we'll go to someone in the audience. Let's see who would like to take this up. So Neeran, would you like to unmute yourself and give the answer out?
Hey, sorry, if I knew it, I would have already done that. But no, my guess was also similar. It would either have been like Zimbabwe, Namibia, Botswana, one of those countries might have been originally part of the federation or something, and now it's not anymore.
Not quite. So, okay, I'll open this up to everyone. If anyone would like to give out a guess, please feel free. If not, I'll go to the answer slide in a few seconds. Okay, so no points for anyone. The points will be
because the 4 capitals became 3, and the
all of you guys are coming up with some really good guesses, but the right answer is D. They wanted to avoid it compared with the international peace symbol. So no points to anyone for this question. It goes unanswered, and I think the question goes back to Pushkar for the next one. Okay, question 10. In the story A Scandal in Bohemia, Holmes says of Watson, "I am lost without my Boswell," referring to the biographer of Samuel Johnson. In the TV series Sherlock, the same quote is used with a slight change, replacing the name with an English word. What word, referring to how Watson maintained his notes in the show? Obviously, this word didn't exist in the English language when the original story was written. And it fits in well with how Sherlock has been adopted as a modern day retelling of the story. So,
is it a tablet?
Okay. Pushkar says it's tablet, which sits in line with the modern day aspect of the story. I'll pass to Sania.
Oh, well, that was my guess also. I'm going to guess laptop then.
Okay, not a laptop. Vinod, you're up.
I will go with the tablet. Is it for me?
Yes, it is for you.
Yeah, okay. I will go the tablet line, and I would say iPad.
Okay, not iPad. I think, I'm so sorry, Shashank. It looks like I skipped you there, but
yes,
you can have your turn. My apologies.
So I'll say he used to blog. So blog.
Blog is absolutely right. Well done, Shashank. That is the right answer. And Sherlock says, I'd be lost without my blogger. So that gets you 10 points. That's question 10. 10 points to Shashank for saying blogger. And I think if everyone agrees, we can go with Vinod for the next question.
Sure.
Okay. Question 11. This is the second last question of the first infinite rebounds round. In the winter of 2009, Lisa Richter was making a left turn on a snowy day in Oswego, New York, when she was struck by a vehicle traveling the opposite direction. It resulted in her death. Unfortunate accident. After an investigation, the authorities blamed an eco-friendly technology for this mishap. What did they blame this on, and why was the accident caused? Question to Vinod.
Eco-friendly technology. Must be some wind generating instrument or something which basically fell on the road, and that caused the driver of the vehicle to swerve, and he hit the vehicle in which Lisa was traveling.
A very final fantasy, final destination kind of a guess, I would say, but not quite the right answer. So we'll pass to Pushkar.
Okay, I'm going to be clearly wrong with this, but was it a Tesla car which was self-driven and hence, was not guided well at that point of time in testing phase or something of that sort?
A good guess. I'm not entirely sure it fits in with the timeline, but a good guess nonetheless. But I'll pass the question to Sania.
So I'm guessing the eco-friendly technology is solar-powered traffic lamps, and since it was a snowy day, it was cloudy, so those things were malfunctioning, and that caused the confusion and the accident.
Okay, I shall give it to you. It is almost there. You're almost there. I shall give it to you. These were LED lights which were used in signals, and because of the low heat that they generate, the snow that was accumulated had not melted off, which would have happened if there were incandescent bulbs which were used earlier. But because you were quite close, I'm going to do 10 points for this question, and we'll go to Shashank for the next one, the final question of the first IR round. Okay, so Shashank, this question to you. Here is a font called Book Early. It was specifically designed and crafted for something, as there were several customer complaints about readability. What was it designed for? So very simply, just tell us what was this font designed for? The font is called Bookerly, specifically designed for something, as there were several customer complaints about readability. You just have to tell us what it was crafted for.
So you want which people was it crafted for, or what entity was it crafted for?
Not the people, basically, what was it crafted for? Not the. I'll not go beyond saying I'm not talking about any specific type of people.
Okay. Bookerly. Something as the work several about readability. Okay, so I'll say this was crafted for the after the Oscar fiasco and the Miss Universe fiasco. It was crafted for people who had to give out awards at the award shows. So for the award shows,
Okay.
it was crafted for.
So as to not cause confusion due to the fonts.
Yes.
Okay. Passing to Vinod.
It was for Amazon Kindle.
Is the right answer. This was crafted for Amazon Kindle because some other fonts were not very easily rendered on the e-ink display. So they had to go ahead and design a whole new font for the device. So 10 points to Vinod there. Let me just make a quick note of that. And that brings us to the end of round one. At the end of round one, so far we have Pushkar on 20, Sania on 30, Shashank on 20, and Vinod on 30. So I hope that tallies up with your scores as well, the scores that you all have been maintaining. Shashank?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we'll move on to the first written round, for which we'll all be using the Google form that we've shared earlier. You can use that as a blank answer sheet, and this round is called Nobels. There'll be 5 questions. We'll show you the pictures of the first laureates of the Nobel Prize in each of the disciplines they are awarded in. Just write the name of the discipline corresponding to the laureate as your answer. Okay. You just have to name the discipline. We'll give you the picture and the name of the laureate, of the first laureate of the award. Okay. Any questions? All right. Here's question number 1. This Sully Prudhomme. Just name the discipline in which he was awarded the Nobel, in which he was the first laureate. Okay, that's Sully Prudhomme. Moving on to the second question. The two gentlemen, Frederic Passy and Jean-Henri Dunant, or Dunant, pardon my French. You can type in your answers in the respective places on the Google form.
Do you need the year or something, or just the
discipline?
what?
No year, just the discipline.
Okay.
Okay. Question 3. Willem Röntgen. An easy one. Just name the discipline here. Question 4. Emil von Behring. Emil von Behring. And finally, Jacobus Edricus van Hoff. So I'll just quickly cycle through all the 5 questions once again. So that's Sully Prudhomme for question 1. These two gentlemen, Frederic Passy and Jean-Henri Dunant. For the second one, Willem Röntgen for third, Emil von Behring for 4, and Jacobus Edricus van Hoff for the 5th. Just send in the names of the disciplines in which they have won the prize, and you can submit your answers. Just let me know once you've done that so that we can have a quick look at the answer.
Submitted.
Okay.
Yeah, done from it.
We know this well, Sania and Pushkar.
It's giving me a captcha. Just give me a second.
Okay, sure. Hey, we need to make sure that you're human after all.
Sent it in.
Okay. So we'll go to the audience for the answers here. But before that, let me just have a quick look at the score sheet. I'm going to pause sharing. Just give me a second, folks. Okay, And we have answers from all of our participants. Well done. We'll go on to the audience for the answers to these questions. So anyone who'd like to tell us which discipline Saripudam won this in? From the audience, you can unmute
Literature.
yourself.
Literature.
That's absolutely right. I think that was Aniket back with an answer. That's literature. Second, Frederick and Mr. Passy and Dunant. Let's go to somebody else for this one. Anyone amongst our panelists for the quiz would like to take a crack?
It's peace, right?
Yes,
They are Red Cross founders.
Red Cross.
It is indeed peace. One of them was one of the founders of Red Cross, and another one was for the I'm sorry, I'm confusing the name of the agency with something else, so I shall not attempt to rely on my memory here. But some intergovernmental agency, intergovernmental cooperation agency. So that's peace. Wilhelm Röntgen, I think this will be an easy one. This would be
physics.
Chernobyl. I mean, for an instance.
Wilhelm Röntgen winning the Nobel for physics. Okay. Emil von Behring. Again, this is, I think, a simple one. He was the first Nobel laureate for anyone in the audience. Looks like this one has them stumped. So this was medicine and physiology. And finally, the only category that is left is chemistry. Van 't Hoff is considered one of the founding fathers of modern physical chemistry as we know it. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the second round. And let's have a quick look at how our participants did. So Shashank has all 5 correct. That brings him to a total of 50 for this round. Vinod is again correct on all counts, as is Pushkar. I think Sania has Sania has missed 1 question out of the 5, so she's the one on 40. Everyone else is on 50 questions. So a high scoring round. Well done, everyone. And I think this is going to be a little bit of an equalizer. We'll see how everyone does in the next round, which is going to be reverse passing. We'll go in backwards order, starting with Vinod, making our way to Shashank, then to Sania, and finally to Pushkar. Okay. I'm not able to see Vinod. It looks like he's dropped off. No, okay, he's here.
Yeah.
He's here.
Okay, he's here. My apologies. So, Vinod, this is your first question for this round. So, B constantly tries to reduce the distance between you and it. P just positions itself in a predefined and set way. I always tries to ambush you from behind. And C roams about randomly. So, what would you be called in this scenario? Or you can just tell us what are we talking about here? So you can just tell us what are we talking about here?
We are talking about atomic particles.
Okay, not atomic particles, not what we're looking for. So question 2 from Vinod, question to Shashank.
So I'm not sure of the names. I think B is Blinky and P is Pinky. So these are the ghosts in Pac-Man, and I would be called a Pac-Man.
That is absolutely right. Perfect answer, Shashank. That gives you 10 points. These are the various ways in which these ghosts are designed, are programmed to operate in the Pac-Man game. And if you would like to beat the game, maybe you should keep those strategies in mind, the way they are programmed. So these are the ghosts from Pac-Man, and you would be called Pac-Man. That gets you 10 points. Moving on to question number 2, which is a direct for Sania. General Pagonis was a US Army general in the Gulf War. Okay, this is why we have Finger of God Red Cross lights. Army general in the Gulf War in 1990, heading 500,000 troops. To create a culture of efficient communication, he introduced a change to his meetings to make them shorter and effective. In this method, when someone took too much time, others could be seen visibly becoming impatient. So what did he introduce, which is also followed by many groups in the IT industry now? Sania, your question?
Are these standing meetings? Stand-ups?
Sania, are you an IT professional by any chance?
No. No.
But you're spot on, that is stand-up meeting or standing meetings. And the logic behind it is that if you sit down, people tend to dither about and keep going on and on. And what can be accomplished in 15, 20 minutes goes on for an hour and a half. So he said, just stand up, and that prevents, that puts people in enough of an uncomfortable position that they just don't keep going on and on. So that's 10 points to Sania. Well done. Next question to Pushkar. The origin of this taunt in the world of video games and internet culture is most likely to have been because of the confusing proximity of two rightmost letters on the top of a QWERTY keyboard. So what taunt are we talking about? So what taunt are we talking about, Pushkar?
Is it something related to delete?
Not quite what we're looking for. So question to Vinod.
So these would be the greater than and the lesser than symbols. So basically, if somebody wants to look at you from a from a bullying angle point of view, they used these two symbols to indicate that they're doing it.
Okay, not quite the answer that we have here. So direct to Shashank.
So the rightmost letters on the top row is O and P. So is it something like Omkar OP or something of that sort? Like that's what is happening on YouTube comments these days.
Okay, and that's not the exact answer I'm looking for. So I'll pass the question to Sania and see if she's got something for us.
No, I had something different. I was guessing this is noob, but which is typed with a 0 instead of an O.
Okay.
Noob, which stands for newbie.
Ah, nice.
Okay, that's a good guess, but not the right one, I'm afraid. And I think we started with Pushkar, so we can open this up to the audience. Anyone in the audience who's a gamer who would like to tell us what we are talking about?
Omkar, you owned them all on this one.
I'm sorry?
You owned them on this one.
Oh,
yes.
Damn it.
Yes.
PWN.
Well done. I think that was Niran. Fantastic comment there.
Yeah.
This is called PWN, which is
okay.
When you want to type OWN, but instead you type P. So that's a thing now apparently among gamers. So when you get owned, you get pooned or pooned, however you pronounce that. So no points to anyone. A pat on the back for Niran for cracking this. And I think we'll go back to Pushkar for the next one. This organization ran a campaign called Got Beer as a hat tip to the Got Milk campaign, claiming somewhat correctly that it was healthier to drink beer than milk. Opposition from anti-alcohol campaigners forced them to eventually withdraw the campaign. One spokesperson said that the campaign was against milk, and if they had compared milk to, say, orange juice, they would have got no publicity at all. So what organization is this? So question for Pushkar.
Is it Budweiser?
Budweiser got beer fits in well, but not the answer that I'm looking for. So we'll pass to Vinod.
I vaguely remember, I think this is PETA. Basically, the milk is something from animals. So they said the beer is from plants. So instead of got milk, you can go for got beer.
People for ethical treatment of animals is absolutely
Yes.
right. Cracking answer from Vinod. That gets him 10 points. Not 10 pints, but 10 points. And we'll go to Shashank with the next question. So originally a Greek strongman, X took an Indian name in 1957. X's remains are part of a new product unveiled a few years back by a Pune-based company. This new product shares a part of its name with a masked revenge seeker. So what is X and what is the product? So obviously no part points here. No part points anywhere in the quiz. You just have to tell us both parts. Enough clues in the question to be able to figure this one out.
No clue, no clue. Pass.
Shashank passes to Sania.
I'm guessing the Pune-based company is Bajaj, and these are the pulsar which was made from INS Vikrant parts.
Okay, so you're saying the company is Bajaj, the product is the pulsar made from INS Vikrant
No,
parts?
X. Yeah, X is INS Vikrant, whose
Okay.
parts are in the new pulsar.
In the new pulsar, okay. I'll pass to Pushkar.
Is it the Mahindra Scorpio?
Not the Mahindra Scorpio, I'm afraid. And finally, I think we can go to the audience. I think everyone has had a chance to answer.
No, I think I had
Okay.
to move forward.
Okay.
Yeah. So my guess was I was thinking of Sabu, the Chacha Chaudhry's sidekick or henchman. So Greek
Okay.
strongman and exists Sabu, and the product is basically the insurance company, the APCO insurance company.
Okay, that's quite different from what we are looking for. Anyone in the audience would like to have a crack at this one?
Is
Hey,
it?
actually, yeah, go ahead, Sanasi.
It's a random guess. Is it Hero Cycles coming from Hercules?
Not quite. Not Hercules. Hercules would be the right answer to X, but not Hero Cycles. So, Niran, you had a guess?
I think Sania was very, very close. I mean, X is HMS Hermes, which became Vikrant. And the product, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, that's the part with
Bajaj
the
V.
Bajaj
That is
something,
right.
yes,
Sania came the
absolutely.
closest with the answer. The answer is INS Vikrant, originally Hercules, not Hermes.
Yeah, I
And
knew the
Bajaj
fun.
V.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I can't give you the points
I
for
know.
losing
That's
out
okay.
on Pulsar because they are distinctly different motorbikes. It was actually marketed as having parts of INS Vikrant in the metal bodywork. So unfortunately, no points to anyone. Close but no cigar for Sania. And we'll go back with the next question. So I think Vinod, no, not Vinod,
No,
Pushkar.
Shashank.
Okay, Shashank. Thanks for that, Shashank. We'll go back to the next question with you. So Sembach Katzer is a little German town which once used to be a US Air Force base called Sembach Annex. As a civilian passenger, you would probably never get a chance to visit it, but it is consistently ranked on lists of interesting airports. Why is it? Why is that?
Because the US Air Force flew from it, so there were always fighter jets over there which you could see taking off or landing while you were there. which would
Uh,
be of interest.
Okay, that might be of interest to a certain kind of aviation geek, I suppose. But they would not be permitted on premises since it was a US military airbase. So I'll pass the question to Sania.
Mm, I'm guessing it's in the Black Forest, so it's in the middle of the forest, and yeah, that's probably why it's interesting. The runway is the only clearing around.
The runway is only clearing around, and there is a thicket of trees around the airbase, well shielded from any prying eyes, is what we mean. Not what we have here. So moving on to Pushkar.
Pass.
Okay, passes to Vinod.
So basically, during World War II, they converted some of the autobahns into runways for the aircrafts to land. So I would say this is a portion of an autobahn in Germany, which basically there is no runway. So the autobahn itself is the runway, and since it is a US Air Force base, people are not allowed to drive to that part of the road, or are not allowed to take that road.
Okay, it's a good guess, but not quite. So we'll go back to our audience here and let's see who has got this one. Anyone who is an aviation geek who has been to Germany, or perhaps read about or heard about this little airport?
If there's no one, I know the answer. Unfortunately, I've seen this before.
Okay, so please take it away, Niran.
The airport code for this is SEX.
Which is absolutely right. Well done, Niran. This is that's what I was looking for. The IATA code is SEX, Sembach Annex SEX. That is why it keeps coming up as one of the interesting names. People have weird senses of humor. Question back to Shashank. Points to nobody, but question back to Shashank, and honorary hat tip and a brownie point to Niran. Question 7. Shashank, in Great Britain, it is the largest of its kind in terms of surface area, but it is second in terms of volume and definitely second in terms of fame. From a sports angle, it is now known for being adjacent to a golf club where its nation's open tournament was also once held. Perhaps it is most famous as a product brand in a series of books. So what are we talking about here?
In terms of volume.
Largest in terms of surface area, second in terms of volume, definitely second in terms of fame. Has a sporting connection because it is adjacent to a golf club where its nation's open tournament was held in the past. It is perhaps most famous as a product brand in a series of books. So what are we talking about here?
Okay, Harry Potter. What can I think? Harry Potter, I don't know. Okay. So no guesses. It's nothing. Nothing comes to my mind.
Okay. So we'll pass the question to Sania. Something that fits in with all of these of information that we have given here in the question.
So the other thing that you're comparing it to is also in Great Britain.
Yes.
So I'm going to guess it's the Oval because Lord's is the more famous one.
Okay, so oval and not the cricket ground, the oval. Passing to Pushkar.
Is it the Donington Park circuit? I mean, there is Silverstone and there is Donington Park, the F1 circuits in Great Britain. So is it the Donington Park circuit and there might be a product named Donington?
That's a good guess, but not quite. I like the way your brain is working, but not the answer to the question. So we'll go to Vinod with this one.
I'll go with the O2 Arena.
The O2 Arena, okay. This is not a specific sporting venue, and I think G. Shiv Kumar has raised their hand. They probably have the answer, so
Yeah,
you can unmute yourselves and give it out.
Yeah, this is Loch Lomond, the whiskey in the Tintin books.
Which is absolutely right. This is Loch Lomond, the whiskey in the Tintin series of comic books, and the Loch of the same name in Scotland. So Loch Ness is obviously the most famous one.
Most famous one, yeah.
And Loch Lomond is the second famous one, which makes an appearance as a brand in the Tintin series of books. It's quite suspect whether Hirsch or Edge came up with the name himself or whether it was a coincidence, but it appears in the books around the same time when the distillery was established. Okay, so no points to anyone on this question, and I think we are back to Shashank.
Yes.
Let's hope the third time is the charm this time around. So, question 8, Shelter of the World, a short story by Salman Rushdie, was published in February 2008 in the New Yorker magazine. The story is mainly about a man, but a woman is also an important part of it. In an imaginative twist, the woman is shown to be a ghost, rumored to be put together from the many wives of the man in real life. It also provides a neat solution to the historically suspect status of the woman. So who are the man and the woman?
So I'll say this is Henry VIII, and this is the wife that survives, and basically what happens to the wife that survives, the last wife of Henry VIII.
Okay, passing to Sania.
I'm guessing Jesus and Mary Magdalene, which no one knows if she existed or not.
Okay, passing to Pushkar.
Is it Rupert Murdoch and Wendy Deng?
So we're not sure if she exists, is it?
No, I mean it's just because Shelter of the World and maybe Rushdie had some bone to pick. So
okay, Vinod, you're up.
Yeah, this is Jodha and Akbar. So basically, that is the man and woman that is referred in the story.
That's absolutely right. Perfect answer, Vinod. That's 10 points to you. This is Jodha and Akbar. Akbar being Jahapana, which means shelter of the world. Yeah. Literally as it translates. So Jodha and Akbar gets 10 points for Vinod. Next question 2. Pushkar.
No, Shashank.
Oh my God. I keep going around with the order a little too much, I'm afraid. Shashank, I hope you'll pardon me for that.
Yeah.
So Shashank, next question to you.
Yes.
Sisters Sally and Adelaide lived in Wilkesboro, North Carolina, USA. They married brothers who at one point had a death sentence imposed on them in their native land. Sally had 11 children, Adelaide had 10. Eventually, they began to live in separate households because the sisters supposedly kept fighting. So who were their husbands?
Okay, so because North Carolina, so I'll say these are the Wright brothers.
Okay, a guess that fits in with the location. I'll pass to Sania.
These guys had
They lived in North Carolina. They married brothers. They were sisters. They had 11 and 10 children, respectively. Eventually, they began to live in separate households because they started fighting. So, who were the husbands?
I don't know. Johnson and Johnson.
Johnson and Johnson. Okay. To Pushkar.
Pass.
Yeah, I don't remember the names, but I think their husbands were the first documented Siamese twins or something like that.
Okay, so you're almost there. So I'll give it to you. These are Kang and Eng Bunker,
Yeah,
who were
Chang
the
and Eng Bunker.
Siamese twins, as they were called, because they were actually from Siam. The king of Siam had supposedly passed a death sentence on them, and
Yeah.
they were not allowed to leave the country.
Thinking.
But somebody managed to get them out, and they toured the country as exhibits, and went on to live to the ripe old age of 62, if I'm not mistaken. So 10 points to Vinod for getting Siamese twins right. Next question to Shashank. So featured here is noted French mime Marcel Marceau. There's a video that goes with the question. In 1995, he was to team up with a person in a show for HBO. This show wasn't completed. That person had also been inspired by one of Marceau's most famous routines. So who was this person who was inspired by Marceau and who was teamed up with him on the HBO show? I'll just play the clip quickly and skip to the relevant part. Okay, so that was the video. You saw Marcel Marceau performing a bit of one of his celebrated routines. So you just have to tell us who was this other person who was inspired from him, who he was teamed up with on a 1995 HBO show.
But
could not be completed.
Okay, so I'll say Raj Kapoor.
Okay, Raj Kapoor. Passing to Sania.
I'm just going to say Michael Jackson because of the funny dancing.
And you're absolutely right. It is indeed Michael Jackson. If you see his moonwalk, sort of resembles very much the moves that Mr. Marceau or Marcel Marceau was performing for us on this bit of video there. So Michael Jackson is absolutely right. Well done, Sania. 10 points to you for question number 10. Let me just make a quick note of that. And we'll pass the next question to Pushkar for a change. Second last question of this round. What is marked as the official logo of something, and that was made public in April 2015. Rick Wolf, a graphic designer, found it mediocre. He made a quirky font face based on it. One of the names used for this font caused a warning to be sent by the creators of Helvetica. So what is this the official logo of? The one that is circled.
This was, I think, the logo of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign in 2016. Okay.
I think Omkar's connection seems to have got stuck, so let's wait.
You're on mute.
Pushkar, my apologies, I missed your answer. Let me just share the screen presentation again. Okay. Pushkar,
So
please
yeah,
take it in.
this was the logo for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign in 2016.
That is absolutely right. Well done, Pushkar. It was the logo of Hillary's 2016 campaign, and one of the names used for the font face that he created was Helvetica, which was what caused the creators of the font to send him a notice. So that's 10 points to Pushkar for correctly identifying that this was Hillary Clinton's campaign logo. Question goes to Vinod, the final question of the second. Film that we're talking about.
I'm unable to see the. Yeah, okay, I can see it now. Yes. Okay, this is Raghubir Yadav.
Raghubir Yadav, okay. Passing to Pushkar.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Hey,
Shashank.
hold on. Passing to Shashank. Yes, passing to Shashank.
The documentary style film by the second version was. So, is it okay? No clue. Pass.
Okay, we'll go to Sania next.
Um, 15 years should be 2006.
Oh wait, I think there is a slight error there. Let me just confirm. We might have to scrap the question because of that. Let me just confirm. Please give me a moment. Yes, that is an error. It is not 15 years. It should be more than 15. So I think we'll have to scrap this question, unfortunately. My apologies.
Is this Raman Raghav, the serial killer?
Yes, it is Raman Raghav, the
I
serial killer. My bad. I'm so sorry for the error in the question, but this is Raman Raghav. We'll scrap the question and we'll move on very swiftly.
On whom he made the documentary. I mean, the movie made.
The first movie was a documentary, and the second version 2.0 was released in 2016, not 2006. That should have been 25 and not 50 years. So that brings us to the second written round, which has got 6 questions. It's called 8 bits and pieces. We'll be using the Google form again for this one as the answer sheet. It's all visual 8-bit recreations of famous entities. You just have to name what it is a recreation of. Okay.
With the same Google form, right? Same.
Yeah,
link.
you can use the same Google form.
Okay.
Open it up afresh, a blank Google form. Just tell me when you're ready, and we'll go to question number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Pushkar, Shashank?
Ready.
All right. Okay. So here's question number 1. 8-bit recreation of what? Okay, that's question number 1. Just enter your answers in the sheet, in the form, my bad, in the form. Question 2. What is this an 8-bit recreation of? Quite a simple one. We'll move swiftly on to question number 3. That's question 3 for you. Question 4 is this image of a very famous incident. This is question 5.
So what would you need in this?
You can just first read the specific incident, but you can give us the context of what is happening or where this is from. Don't read the specific incident, you can just tell us where this is from.
Could you go to 4, please?
I'll cycle back
Okay.
through all the questions once you're done with the 6 questions here. Okay,
Okay,
so that's
okay.
5. And that is number 6. Okay, just going to cycle through quickly from starting with question 1. This is 1. 2. Question number 3. Question 4. Question 5. And finally, question 6.
Yeah, just a minute on this.
Submitted.
Okay.
Submitted.
Yeah, submitted.
All right. Okay. And we have answers from all of our players. So let's go to the audience for the answers for this round. 8 bits and pieces, 8-bit recreations of something well-known bits of pop culture. So going to our participants from the audience, what is this an 8-bit conversion off. Any takers? I'm afraid not. This is Link from The Legend of Zelda, the video game, the very popular video game Legend of Zelda. Either Link or The Legend of Zelda will get you 10 points. Okay. Moving on to question 2. The modern Prometheus, I think it should have been an easy one.
It's
Anyone
Frankenstein.
would like? Frankenstein is absolutely right. Well done, Mimai. This is Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus. Question 3. A very famous painting.
It's Nighthawks by Hopper.
Talks by Hopper is absolutely right. Well done. Question 4 is a famous or a notorious moment in sporting history.
Eric Cantona.
This is Eric Cantona's Kung Fu Kick. Yes, that's absolutely right. Question 5. Totoro, you can take it away.
Game of Thrones, the execution of Ned.
That's absolutely right. This is the execution of Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. And finally, question number 6.
कितने आदमी थे?
Kitne aadmi the? This is indeed Sholay. So I think this is my favorite of the lot, with Jay, Viru, and Thakur and Basanti making up the first 4 characters. Thakur obviously is shown without hands. So that rounds up the questions for today's Simple Interest Live Showdown. It's time for the final scores. Let's see how our panelists did in this round. Let me just quickly take a look at the answers. Pushkar, I think, got
20.
2. Yeah, Pushkar got 20. So that's 20 points in this round for Pushkar. Sania, how do you think you did?
I think I got 50.
That's absolutely right. Sania's scored extremely well in this round with 50 points. Shashank, you are up next.
30.
That's right. That's 30 for Shashank. And finally, Vinod.
30, I think.
Vinod is also on 30. Yes, that's absolutely correct. And that brings the final tally to, drum roll please, Pushkar is on 100 points. Sania and Vinod are both tied for first place with 140, with Shashank coming in at 110 points. So we have a tie for the first place, and like we had said earlier, in the event of a tie, we'd consider the totals of the first written round. In this case, Vinod had 50 and Sania had 40. So it's a tough break for Sania. Vinod emerges the winner of the third Simple Interest Live Showdown. A round of applause. Hearty congratulations. Well done, Vinod. Super performance. And a great performance from Sania, Shashank, and Pushkar as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you had fun. And we look forward to seeing you all in perhaps the next edition of the Showdown. Meanwhile, keep playing away at the regular daily sets.
Thank you. Great questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice quiz. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Omkar signing off. Thank you so much for joining us at the third Simple Interest Live Showdown. Do sign up for Simple Interest at thinktowin.com/simpleinterest. Happy quizzing. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.